we'll get one for you. That's and they may eat all.
Okay, 6 o'clock. We'll have the meeting out of order. And, Kathy, why don't you lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to all visitors and media. Do you have any constituent comments? We'll move on to approval of the consent of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion. So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, now the meeting notice, minutes. And again, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as is. Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Approval of accounts payable. I'll entertain another motion. Okay, any discussion?
I just had a question on page 9,
The first part.
then the number 1096.
What's the name?
Menards.
Menards, okay.
I was just curious why that wasn't purchased locally.
You know, I know that Matt May does look both places.
Okay, so that was
So,
fine for industrial.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know he does do a little bit, he looks, so I know it's a consideration that's looked at.
Okay.
Any other questions?
You can start the other day.
We did.
I didn't say anything after the call.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, what about the monthly financials? I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, on to my favorite part, recognition. Okay, I would like, because I saw Myra here, I'd like her to step up and tell us about her 2 kiddos and what they did. You can come up with her.
Well, what happened was I got a notice in the mail, like all lit teachers do, about an inaugural online magazine. What was happening is Buena Vista University was, had their graduate students working on this publication for Midwest high school students. It's called Hot Dish Magazine. And they were inviting any students to submit stories, poems, etc. And so I just opened it up to my lit classes and said, hey, if you'd like to try this out, it'd be fun. And of course I said, I won't count against you if you don't, but I thought it'd be fun. And actually I was really surprised, quite a few of my students submitted. And then all of a sudden I was getting emails from the people in charge saying, well, this is where we are in the process, and these children are going to be published. And this is it was published January 24th, and it is the inaugural issue. It was the very first one they did. And Ben Hendricksmeyer and I was going from Benjamin, but I thought it'd be nicer. Ben Hendricksmeyer and Daisha Kale are both and the inaugural year. So I thought it'd be nice if they would tell you what they wrote.
I wrote a poem about OCD for Mental Illness Awareness Month. So it just described how they felt when their thoughts daily.
I wrote a poem about when my grandfather passed away and how I really would like to see him again someday when that happens.
Is the publication all poems, or is it
No,
short stories?
short stories is kind of whatever the kids want to. It just happened to be the poems and what these two submitted and.
Well, it's very exciting, congratulations.
Would there be a copy of the publication in high school library?
No, it's online.
Oh, it's just online?
Mhm.
I see.
But if you went, but you could go to Boy Mrs. Website, and it's called Hot Dish Magazine. And you'd be able to access that there, that's what we kind of put out. But I'm really proud of what this is done. So.
Yeah, and I have a pin for the two kiddos. Congratulations. And moving on to Hawthorne Literacy Volunteers, I'm not sure, Deb, or you head that up?
We have several people here.
I know, but I don't know if you're the one that knows everybody, or
I
you can talk about
I can
it.
introduce them.
All right. Oh, it's Janet?
Here.
Janet, you want to talk about it? I want to talk about it, because you got it started, right?
I did,
But you headed up for Hawthorne.
but I helped,
Okay.
but I just kind of, I'm way behind the scenes. I don't even know how many years ago it was, Deb.
4 years.
4 years. Yeah. And they, Mike and Deb started talking about getting a literacy with volunteers program. I don't know, you had read about another group?
Actually, we were working on forming a volunteer center, and Jim Vandenberg came to some meetings, and he said, if you want to do something for the schools, you need to work with kindergarten through third grade students and get them up to reading level, because that's so important. If they're not reading at grade level by the end of third grade, they really, really face a lot of difficulties. And so we started, the first year we did kindergarten and first grade, and the next year we added second grade, and then last year we added third grade. So this year we're doing all 4 grades, and we have 24 volunteers, regular volunteers that volunteer anywhere from 1 to 2 hours twice a week. And they have the same students each time they go until those students are reading at grade level. If they're reading at grade level, then they'll give them some other student. We have 11 subs. We work with 54 students right now. And it's wonderful for everybody. I mean, if you're old, it makes you feel useful. If you're a kid, you get some extra attention and extra help. The teachers appreciate the help, and it's good for the community. The more kids we have reading at grade level by the end of third grade, the better off all of our kids will be. So.
And Elsa, how many volunteer hours did we have just for the first
In the
semester?
fall, we had 492.
Wow.
So,
Awesome. Great job.
That's great, I have pins for everybody.
So we don't have all 24 here, but a good representation, I believe.
You can if you want to have the room, otherwise I can find you. You want, can I give you all 24? Sure. I'll be able to get the rest of them.
I know you'll help me.
This is a wonderful program. We are so fortunate to have you found out about this and Jim and Heather. I have been a substitute, have not done as much as I should, but it's so worthwhile. And how those little ones look forward to seeing you each week. And I hope you can continue this for many years, because I think it makes a huge difference in the students' lives and in the children. Thank you all so very much. sure our athletic director will officially when he comes, and that is, I'm sure for reading the paper, you're aware of the Iowa, the Keokuk High School girls and boys bowling teams. The girls placed fourth, I believe the girls placed was the second.
Second, yes.
Second, okay. And Caitlin Moore is on the all-state bowling team, and she is one of only 3 who are being selected for bowler of the year, high school female bowler.
She made the elite team,
Elite
yes.
team, so that's a wonderful, wonderful distinction, and we're all very, the bowlers don't get as much credit sometimes.
I was gonna give them some when I came up
Were
there,
you?
but you're on it, I appreciate
I
it.
should have known.
That's okay,
Yes,
but
that's
if you want, the Des Moines Register did an article on it,
Yes,
and
it
it's on our
was.
Facebook page, so take a
Yes.
look at it, and it's a wonderful article on Caitlin over the weekend.
Sorry, but you can
No,
say it again.
that's
You
all
get
right.
Too much
Absolutely, it
knowledge.
was a great season.
Yes, that's all.
Okay, and the wrestlers, you know.
Oh, yes. Well, are you gonna mention the wrestlers?
I was.
Okay.
I'm not gonna wait on your parade anymore.
Okay, let's move on to announcements. George Washington and Torrance.
Torrance, we had recently our first preschool roundup, and we had about 40 kiddos come in, which is great. They were really excited. They were just so fun. And then we have another roundup date though, May 19th, for those that may have missed it, and we have slots filling up their pass, so we'll have another batch coming through. We thought we would try 2 different dates this time and see if we can catch some who just missed the sign up. I reported a while back, Mrs. Brewer, the developmental preschooler, with her project-based learning did the lights around Christmas. Miss Betty just completed hers. It's an outdoor music wall. So as you hear clanging and all that as you drive by, that's their outdoor music wall. And then Miss Pill did a doctor's clinic where they had that set up in here, and these were all exam tables. They had receptionists, and they came in, and parents and grandparents, and I think some staff from upstairs came down and got checked. And we had a little thing to fill out what hurt, and then we came over, and they checked us all out. They gave us shots, lots of Band-Aids, I love Band-Aids. It was really fun. Mr. Makowski, he was checked out that day, good health. We did Read Across America Day, and we had some YLT members come and help celebrate reading to Dr. Seuss's birthday and read to the preschool classes. And then Mr. Marston came over before kindergarten roundup to introduce himself, and he read to the preschoolers so they would recognize him when they came to kindergarten roundup. At George Washington and Torrance, Sarah Wetzel's been great. We have gotten a garden, the mobile garden cart. One's out there, and then GW got theirs as well, so that will be starting in the spring. We completed Jump Rope for Heart. I don't know the totals yet, so those will be coming. We also have a program that just finished called Six Flags Read to Succeed, and that really starts in November and ends in February, and students just have to read 6 hours at home, and they log it, parents log it, and they earn a ticket to Six Flags, which is great, because those are so expensive nowadays. We have parent-teacher conferences next week. PBIS, we earned enough tickets to have a snowball fight, so we had a snowball fight for that reward. We're getting ready for Iowa assessments, and we have a theme for that, and we always do a kickoff. And the theme for Iowa assessments this year is I Believe in My Selfie. So we're taking a lot of pictures and going around and getting ready for that. And then there's 5 sayings, all dealing with pictures that have to do with motivating for taking the test. I think, I don't know if it was last month or the month before, I talked about Mr. Cannon doing his Fitbit things for UNICEF. And so far, they started it. They're averaging 16,000 steps as a class, which equals 69 food packets that have been sent overseas. He said all schools in the country so far, 4,000 food packets have been sent to date, and there's 25,000 steps equal 1 food packet. So we're having fun with that. Mrs. Bean's grant that she got through Engineering as Elementary, if you check out our Facebook page, there's pictures on there. She built knee braces, And tomorrow, they start making a stomach out of balloons and crackers and looking at the digestive system, so that grant is well underway.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hawthorne.
Because, Mike's not able to be here tonight, but that's some of the things he would like to address too. We did have our Read Across America Day a couple weeks ago, and I really appreciate a lot of our administrative staff that came in and read to our kiddos and all others who came in to help assist. It was a great day. Kids had a great time. We did have our kindergarten roundup just last week, and we had 114 kiddos get signed up. It was a great day, both days, ran really smooth. We kind of took a different approach this year. We tried to make it more like a tour, what a day would be like for a kindergartner to come through the school. We had a lot of great positive feedback from parents. We only had 2 families that were not able to attend that day, so we had a great turnout. And of course, we'll probably have more kiddos come in when we get registration in August. Next Monday, we will be going to the Grand Theater to see the choir performance. And then also on Tuesday next week, we will be doing a snowball fight with our students for our PBIS because we fill up our buckets, so we'll be celebrating that as well. So those are some great things that are going on. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Tomorrow, our 8th grade students are all heading to SEC West Burlington campus to explore careers. So we're taking all 130 kids to explore 6 or 7 different strands of careers. That's put on by the Lee County Economic Development Group, so it'll be a half day, and then tomorrow at SEC. Tomorrow night, middle school jazz band and the high school jazz band will be playing at the Jazz at Chili, 6 p.m., First Christian Church. It's always a good show. And then last week was the all-city band concert, and that was great. 6th grade band, 7th and 8th grade band, high school band, they all sang. It sounded really, really well conducted and just well prepared. Very impressed by them. This coming Monday, all of the kids, middle school, Hawthorne, and even GW at some point will be going to the Grand, I believe. I don't know if GW is going at some point to see the show choir perform at the Grand. Middle school will be there. Kids play or they perform at 8:45. So it'll be our show time is 8:45 on Monday. The Tuesday, of course, parent-teacher conferences. Middle school, we're doing our PBIS Student Appreciation Day, so we'll have an assembly that day to recognize the kids that have gone above and beyond for Student of the Week, Student of the Month, all of our different recognition for winter sports going on at that time as well. So that's next Tuesday. And then after spring break, Monday the 27th, our 6th grade band is heading to Cedar Rapids to see the Cedar Rapids Orchestra, and they're going to do kind of a field trip that day. So that's what I have. Mr. Hendricks has some other items here.
If that's not enough, we've got more going on. First, I'll back up to bowling again. Back in
I know at middle school, I forgot to recognize.
Oh, that's okay. That's what we're doing.
Even better.
Back in January, I received a flyer about a middle school bowling tournament in Ames. So I right away called Ryan, and he was ready to go with it. So we basically turned it into a middle school bowling club, is what we wanted to call it. And the nice thing about it was with Ryan's help, it was quick and easy to put together. We initially had 18 kids interested, and 15 kids followed through with the season. And it was this year was just a series of practices, and Ryan charged a very, very minimal fee for the kids, the families to bowl at his bowling alley, get to practice, and then they use those practice scores to build their teams for that state tournament. And it turned out pretty well, where the girls team, our 4 girls team, they were able to win that middle school state tournament, and there must be a battle for superiority in the household because his 6th grade daughter, Rachel, she got first at that tournament, so I don't know, we'll see what goes on. She's going to carry on the future there for sure. But, we had kids bowling there that had never really bowled before, to those who they were involved with their parents and some weekend stuff. So it's just a wide variety of kids, and we're already starting to talk about what could it look like next year. And, the idea of getting started a little bit sooner, maybe adding one scrimmage with one of the area schools that also was big high school bowling. So Ryan got those connections, and along with that, we thought we'd have enough jerseys for them to wear, and we didn't.
but he was able to find a local group of bowlers that donated the cost of the shirt, so the kids were looking good and it's out there at home. Other thing going on is, right now we're in the middle of our spring fundraiser for student activities, and we've got the group out of Iowa City. They were formerly known as Chip Shop, now I think they go with Cherrydale in Pennsylvania. But the idea is, so there's middle school kids out there selling last week and this week, and we try to get some incentives, and so far we've had one young lady already sell herself over $1,000 worth of items there. So we've got some kids out there doing that, and we're asking all kids to sell at least 10 items. If they do that, they'll be a part of what we call the Big Blast, which will be at the end of the school year, where this company will bring in some inflatables and other fun things to do. As well as if they sell 30, they get a limo ride. I can't remember what else is now.
Also, the top seller gets this really nice Bose stereo system. There's a lot of things that kids are really excited about. So all this stuff is really good.
What is, I got a knock at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Guess who was driving? And this is a real, I got it right before.
This on your last.
This past Sunday. And a really cool little sales lady came in. I want to mention, they have 3 books. You really have more of a variety of things to choose from. And I thought that was particular.
Yeah, and the quality is really good. We used this group at my former school. We had several companies come in and pitch us, and this is the one we always went with. So I knew they were had good quality. And we used them last year, and they brought in the Big Blast and did a nice job organizing everything. They're just trustworthy. At the end of the sale, they do all the organization of by who sold what. So that's make it very user friendly. And we get a big chunk of the sales.
So that's going to end this Thursday.
Good towards our kids.
And we'll get that sold up, and we'll report next board meeting, we'll be able to raise. And finally, just real quick, this was the first day of track practice, although you know, I'm great day for it. So I need to do some work inside. To this, I haven't checked in with the coaches again, but we had 40 boys, 7th and 8th grade signed up, so I'm hoping we can keep that number there, and 33 girls. So we got some good participation from our kids. So we're hoping to see some great events. And I was in a little late because I was at KMS PTO meeting, and I tell you, they are a group that really wants to do a lot for the middle school. We're organizing, they're going to do some food sales at track meets and help raise funds for the PTO. We're trying to take what has always been known as our Showcase of Excellence night, which is always with our band concert, and there's an idea to maybe separate the two and do a different night of Showcase of Excellence, which would be all the fine arts showing off what they do, their projects or presentations. But we also thought it'd be neat to kind of bring in some 5th graders and their parents and give tours of the school, so that to kind of alleviate the stress of what's the middle school like, how do I get around, as well as, and that would be in addition to the normal move-up day that we traditionally do here at K-Tech school. So a lot of good planning on there, and a small group of people trying to get a lot of things done for middle school. So excited to work with that group.
If you drive by and see there's a big construction outside the media center, that's another PTO project. They helped raise the funds for a 36 by 18 concrete slab that'll be eventually an outdoor learning pavilion. We're working with some other clubs in town to help raise funds for a shelter out there for an outdoor learning environment. But you'll see the slab is all done, the concrete's poured. Looks great. So thanks again to the PTO for their support and for all the work they do. Doing great.
Oh, I should throw a plug in, April 29th, trivia night at Southside Boat Club, and they're going to give the donations to the PTO. So anyone wants to put together a group, win some prizes, just be intellectually superior to everybody else there. Very cool.
Oh, and I was late because Kevin was my ride, so.
Hey, his wife refused to take it, so I got
Well, we can understand that. Thank you.
Good evening. Couple announcements. Our Ventures got done at the YMCA. I think we briefly mentioned last time, but it was in our papers, and it was just a great give back to the community. Kudos to Matt and his kids. And did they finish the sauna door, Matt?
What's that?
They're working on a sauna door too,
Yeah, they're
right?
installing it tomorrow.
Installing that tomorrow. So our kids are starting to get out there and do projects in the community, so we're excited about that. Bryce Miller spoke at the Capitol, Empower You. That was on March 3rd, and he spoke about changes in education. So it's always cool to see our kids and be represented at the Capitol. So shout out to Bryce Miller. If you didn't get a chance, Rachel Miller was fantastic last week from the Holocaust Museum. came in and spoke to our students for over an hour, and then some of our kids stayed like past 1:45 to speak with her and give her hugs, and it was a realistic day for our kids, and they learned a lot, and she was just overwhelmed by how good our students were, and just, said, it was one of the best schools she's ever visited. So I was very proud of our students. The middle school came over, it was a great day. Jazz and Chili fundraiser, March 14th. Earth Hour Assembly, something being headed by Courtney, Ms. Gazelle, and our freshman science students. They're going to do an Earth Hour, which is...
Well, it's it's not new, it's been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you want me to?
Why don't you talk about some of the areas, because I didn't have a
Okay.
spreadsheet with me that they were...
Yeah, so I saw a commercial on Hulu a couple weeks ago, and I thought, hey, this looks like fun. So started in Australia, and it's a worldwide movement. 172 countries participate. We are actually the first city in Iowa to have an event, so I'm really excited about that. The closest is Chicago. And so what they do is on March 25th from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. worldwide, they turn off their lights and any unnecessary power for an hour. And big cities do like big parties and festivals during that hour. We are just keeping it simple. I think we're gonna try and do a flashlight tag in Rand Park that night. And our big agenda is just to get the word out and try and get as many families to participate as possible. And so we've got a couple presentations that the elementary and middle school we're gonna try and do.
We're going to get into the schools with the kids, and each group of students kind of spearheaded a different task in this activity. Courtney came to me like last week about it and had a spreadsheet, and I'm like, awesome. So we're going forward with it. WGEM will be covering our assembly, and it's going to be done by our students. And it'll be next Thursday.
Yeah, and I have a committee that's supposed to be contacting the newspaper, and then the boys are being interviewed on the radio on Thursday. So, but it's hard for me to like step back, because my kids still haven't called the newspaper, and even though I know Megan, I was like, they will call you eventually. It's like
Now you
trying to
know
make
Megan.
them do it.
Yeah. I called WGEM, by the way, but I know Patrick, so I knew I could get that done really quick. So that'll be exciting. It'll be March 16th. It's during our advisories, so it'll be like 26-minute quick assembly, 10:36 to 11:02. Very next day, we will have a pie in the face assembly. We raised $1,200 for leukemia. Our students all had different faces, and they put money in the jars, and then four lucky people get a pie in the face during the assembly. And it's St. Patty's Day, so it's going to be green, and it's going to be exciting. I made sure, since Mr. Yesick was out last week, that we sabotaged him a little bit, so he'll be getting a pie in the face when he gets back. Unfortunately, I didn't win this year. I don't know what happened, but maybe next year, guys. But it's going to be a good assembly. We're also going to honor our winter sports. You mentioned that Caitlin Moore did get first at state. Also, Alyssa Heeman got fifth at state in bowling, and Jake Cook was runner-up as well for the boys in bowling at state. And tell you about Jake real quick, he was one frame away from a 300. So he just rolled fantastic, phenomenal. He was one frame away, one roll away from 300. So just an incredible job. And we'll be honoring our boys as well. Brandon O'Shea got second at state, and Ashton Myers got sixth in wrestling. So we'll be honoring those sports. That night, it's going to be a super busy day. That night, we have our Sadie Hawkins dance, and we also have our Battle of the Bands. So our Tristan Grisham is one of our students. He has a band at the high school, so he'll be performing with other local artists for a couple hours, and then we open it up for Sadie Hawkins, and it's a fundraiser for our prom. So that's March 17th. March 18th, Texas Hold'em Tournament at the Yacht Club, done by our boosters. There'll be it's to raise for 6 $500 scholarships. It's at the Yacht Club. Again, it's March 18th. So if you like Texas Hold'em or euchre, be sure to sign up, and that is on our Facebook page as well. March 21st is parent-teacher conferences and also body shop health fair. So we'll have our body shop health fair in the morning, and then parent-teacher conferences in the evening. And lastly, April 1st is our Feather Follies as well. And that's at 6 o'clock at Wright Field House. So Short and sweet today. Thank you.
Thank you. District.
We have a number of items, I can read my writing after. Learning Cycle 3 was our instructional coaches, ended about a week ago, and they're gearing up for Learning Cycle 4, so we're wrapping up the year. Spoke to a couple of our coaches today and last week, and they're just, the growth they've seen in their own work, and like I said, I remember at the beginning, so, you know, I'm like, yes, we've come so far. So the empowerment of the TLC program for our teachers, it's just been amazing to watch. Special education, we brought our special education teachers together as a full district meeting for training, and the response was very positive. We want to see this continue going forward. So working with AAA, with the regional directors of the AAA in planning special education training for next year, not only for our special education teachers, but also our general education teachers that they work with. So looking forward to the conversation forward. We've also had several members of our teams from our schools go to the NWEA MAP training for reports and understanding reports and looking at them more deeply, and they came back just absolutely excited and ready to dig in. So I'm working with NWEA in planning training. Again, we're looking at next year, planning for next year. So after the first fall MAP assessment, having in-district training where they can dig into the current data, their own students' data, and understand the different avenues that they can look at it through the reporting system that's there. Let's see, speaking of assessments, Iowa assessments are April 3rd through 7th. I know everyone's excited about that. That's coming around the corner here really quickly. Makeups will be the following week. And as you heard, you know, I'm really excited because we are planning for next year, seeing all that has come together this year, and networking on a strategic plan going forward, and seeing all those puzzle pieces come together is just energizing. Big positive note, the Des Moines Register had a report in regards to reading and growth in reading and decline in reading. And Keokuk Community School District was one of 53 schools that saw double-digit improvements in fast reading scores for the 2015-16 school year. We saw a 10.8% increase. So one out of the 53 out of how many? That's a huge celebration for Keokuk, so we should celebrate. And there we go. I don't have any jazz and chili things to share, but I got data.
Way more important.
Thanks. Administratively, we've been spending quite a bit of our time working on doing our best to try and figure out how to balance the budget for next year, plugging everything from staffing issues to those kind of things. So again, I had down the further nursery, down the 33 districts, and then parent teacher conference next week.
Okay, and Jerry, do you have anything else to add about the strategic plan?
Yes, we can jump into that if you'd like. It's obviously in a draft form. Strategic plan for a district is a very in-depth and document in which we want to make sure we bring parties to the table that are going to be investing in this. So what we're starting off here with what you have is the front page overview for what will be the working document with a period of action. And then each page, I researched that we're utilizing as we continue to dig further other titles, and I apologize to the English teachers, I know it's not correct form yet, we'll get it there. And then the 5 components of the strategic plan, along with the definition of how we see that component, evidence of the need based upon current data and qualitative, quantitative, the goal that is stated for each component, as well as identified outcomes. So what we will be doing as a district instructional leadership team, which means we're going to be bringing in our instructional coaches as well, because they're really on the front line with our teachers, is take this and then continue to work into an action work plan with the action steps outlined for each of the objectives under each component. So it's a stair-step process. And then through that, our district plan next year, as we finalize this piece and tweak it out through this spring,
our buildings in the fall and the summer, going into fall, will develop their building strategic plans based upon this. So we will have alignment, K-12 systemically throughout our district. So this is an overview at this time because it is a draft and we are.
So who created this? You and the TLC coaches?
The TLC coaches, conversations with our administrators, looking at the data as a team, talking about all the different pieces, so, yes.
Were you the coordinator for this project?
This piece, yes.
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 Okay, I'm sure.
But I'm the person who has that, you know, the different pieces
But
along with Mr. Hood.
This reflects a lot of work, I'm sure, and hours.
Oh, it does, but, oh, it's what I do, and I do enjoy it. And working with our administrators and Mr. Hood, and we're all a part of this. It's not just one person writing and putting this together. Because I can have a vision, say this is where we're gonna go, and they can go, yeah, you have no clue. And so we really have to all be together.
How many meetings did you have?
We had initially a couple, and it was taking that. We have, if you come in my office, you'll see these poster papers up with multiple color sticky notes all over them. And so from that, I was able to take their input from there to put it into each of these steps here, along with what I've seen in pulling data where we've pulled our conversations and things together. So as I said, this is the draft just starting. It's now going to go back to them, and we're going to break it down and look at the action steps, what needs to happen to meet these objectives. Because that's where they really get involved, because they are the buildings. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. All right, on to old business. First up, public hearing on the school calendar.
So at this time, we'll go ahead and open at 6:38, the public hearing on the calendar. We'll take any comments from anybody in the crowd. I don't know if they can say their name after, I suppose you're not, yeah, okay.
Julie Totten, 17 Greenbrier Court here in Cape. I love next year's calendar, very pleased. As a parent, I'd like to ask, I know it's hard because you have a lot of process to go through, that we really work to get it out to the public before March each year. There are families in the community that do travel, and we try to minimize time away, but it's really hard when a lot of other districts in the area already have next year's calendar. So I'm just asking, and believe me, I know it's got to go through every step of the process, but if that's something we could think about for next year, that would be awesome. But I really like the direction the calendar's going. I like having spring break with my children, and I appreciate the sacrifices the teachers make by getting rid of some of those instructional days, more of their days throughout the year. So I think it will be well received. I haven't talked to a lot of parents, but thank you.
I guess I want to ask administration, how difficult would it be to get that calendar over?
You're talking like 1 month every year?
Yeah,
Or you,
2 years ago, I managed, probably wasn't supposed to, but I managed to get a draft out of Mr. Hood's office in January.
it was under lock and key.
I know. Now just,
Give you a coffee.
yeah, just a month or, I mean, you
I
can
would
put a
say
draft
prior to
fully
the
in.
beginning of the new year because people have to state their vacation at that time, so.
It's very hard for our parents who have shift jobs where they have to bid.
Right.
They bid guessing. So, yeah.
Well, what do other districts do? What do they get theirs out?
It's probably roughly around the same time. You know, we did have a draft out last month, and I'll be honest with you, we kind of missed, we needed to do a public hearing, and we missed the deadline for the posting. So that's why we went ahead and put a draft out in February with the intent of final approval here in March. Typically, we do try to do it around February. We just kind of missed our deadline for the public
So
hearing.
you would rather have it in January or December? December?
I'd love to have it in December, I'll be honest. You want to tell me in October, I can. And I will be honest, my sister lives in Michigan and they have a state calendar, so I can tell you when her kids' spring break is. So like planning with those of us who have family elsewhere to try to plan to see family. Yeah, I'm trying to minimize the absences that y'all have to deal with. But yeah, I mean, October's great.
I don't think October would be hard.
I don't think so either, right?
We don't bumped up to December.
We'll get the committee together tomorrow.
But I think the town part is just getting all the parties involved on the same, same page, because of course, we do take this to several different groups before it is finally approved, but we can always shoot.
December, like before Christmas break, that would be great.
We will try.
Yeah.
We will try.
That'll be the last of these.
Or at least the first draft.
It doesn't change a whole lot.
The most important stuff is start date, finish date, Christmas break, and then spring break.
I think people ask a lot about spring break because with the Easter holiday, it's not like we've always had as a district a set week. I think people in the community know, like Thanksgiving, we're almost always gonna have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Christmas, you generally kind of have an idea, but the spring break is a lot of people's question of how does it fall with testing, how does it fall with conferences and.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time to approve the calendar. I entertain a motion.
Just one quick second. Finish this, and then we got questions. Okay. So we will close it at 6:15. Okay, so now you can ask for a motion for approval.
Okay,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business, wellness policy.
Sarah's, unfortunately, she came down ill over the weekend and is not here today. But this is the first draft, so of course, this is not the final, or the first reading, so this is not the final approval. But I did let her know that we would take any questions that anybody has, and we'll get back to you with answers. And then, of course, the final reading, the second reading and the final reading for approval will be next month.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Sarah? Yeah.
And of course, you can shoot us an email as well. You think of it later.
I didn't have any, the only thing we might ask her to do for next year would be to put changes in the color or on one separate sheet, just so that.
All right, building trades fundraiser.
Matt is going to pass around our Building Trades Academy, sort of our 5-year plan, not as in-depth of a strategic plan as Jerry just gave you, but a plan nonetheless. So, Matt, you want to summarize?
So basically, like we talked with that curriculum, we kind of then broke it into more of what we already have and how we can make it something big. We have been on a couple school visits and seen what everybody else does. And so with that being said, with the help of Adam and kind of a tidbit with the class that we're taking and the rest of the CT and our board here. Building Trades Academy is bringing that construction, carpentry thing into play for our students with everything, all the retirees retiring and the kids are going into these types of trades without the skill set they needed. We decided and thought this would be a perfect opportunity for us to give our kids these opportunities to do it. So, being said with the why, that was kind of the first thing we jumped on. So it just gives an overview of what the 4-year program looks like, what it's all about, kind of on the top. You flip it over to the next page as the courses that we're going to offer. And then the last page is the fundraiser, which is, we're seeking partnerships and sponsors. By the second year, we're looking to get out there and, with the different contractors and, unions and things of that nature, build a home. So with that, you need capital. And we're looking for people and sponsors, whether it's industry, contractors, local businesses, other groups, to donate, for that.
So we'd be looking to funnel through our foundation, so setting up a separate account for building trades. We do have interest out there. We haven't started anything until we get board approval, of course. But we are starting to gauge interest out there. People are saying, hey, you know, I'll give you equipment, or I'll give you this and that, or capital. One of the things we're looking at is seeing where our Perkins money lies towards the end of the year, possibly using that to purchase a trailer for this program. And then what we thought was we could start putting, and Matt's worked on a vinyl cutter, is putting donations like gold, silver, and then having that on the side of our trailer for those people that are a start of our program. Our goal would be roughly around $50,000 to get started, and we'd be looking for donations. Down the line, we're also looking at doing some small projects within our realm, so our students building sheds and possibly selling sheds to the community. We realize this isn't gonna happen overnight, but we have to start somewhere. We've gotten with Aaron Burnett from City, and he's really been great at working with us. We have a small board of local contractors that really feel strongly about this program. And so we've started getting those ideas going, but now it's time, you know, where the rubber hits the road, and we've got to get out there and start asking around and seeing what we can do. Our goal is, like Matt said, in the next couple of years is to have our students out there building homes. Now, some of the things, electrical and things, has to be outsourced. People have to come in and do those things. We know that our kids won't be able to do everything, but they will get a lot of the skills needed through this program. And it's gonna give back to our community. We're gonna build beautiful homes for our community. That's our goal, our ultimate goal, so. Anything else you want to add?
Any questions?
Are you gonna do something big to kick it off so that it's out there so people know, or?
So, some things we thought about possibly building a shed and having that be at our football games, an auction type thing. We have a lot of ideas, but ultimately, you know, some of the things is just small, like getting to the YMCA and seeing that there's a need. You know, a lot of what I hear from people in the community is I wouldn't be where I am today without this program that Matt has at the high school. And they're very adamant, you know, I'm talking with KC Contractors and different local contractors. There's a lot of people that believe in this and want to help our kids. The ultimate big one would be actually cutting ground and building a home. And so when we get to that point, we're going to publicize it like crazy, and all of our sponsors will be well recognized.
I just know at one of the CTE meetings, Susan Dunning was talking about doing kind of a round robin dinner, like so much a plate. Like if I had one at my house, you pay $50 a plate and I donate the food or whatever. We were kind of kicking that around.
No, that's one I actually was thinking of the other day. If we have a dinner or something when people come in, you know, we would definitely looking at different areas. It doesn't have to just be donations.
Right.
But I thought, what better idea than to have our kids actually building a shed and auctioning those sheds or selling those sheds to the community, put a nice K on them or whatever. We looked at playground equipment. We don't know the liability on that yet for playground equipment. So we're kicking around a lot of ideas.
And I think we used to do that. I know we had a shed before that was.
I believe they used to build sheds. Mr. Glasscock said they used to do that back in the day.
Yeah.
They would also do some of the remodeling stuff in the homes, but the vision is to actually go out and build homes.
So like the first year, which would be next year, would be the kids that would be juniors and seniors. Not only would they be building sheds, we've been kicking around with a local community member who owns around the properties, where possibility of remodeling, things of that nature to start also. And then the younger kids, picnic tables, benches, things of that nature, so.
They built a large horse barn for a previous school board president, Jim Vandenberg. I mean, it's a big horse barn.
It's something that we and kind of look to do with
You could talk to
possibility
the
for the baseball.
PTO people, maybe you guys could put up that 18 by 36 shed. Shelter.
Oh,
Over there once they get the materials.
what about
What's that one?
You know,
You know, if you can talk to the PTO of middle school,
Oh,
twist an arm or two.
have you thought about playhouses and doghouses?
Yes, yes, you did, yeah.
They're always looking for the best doghouse.
Well, they are.
It's on there,
I was
too.
just saying, my wife was looking for dollhouses for our two daughters.
See the miniature house. But not only that, but then the little playhouses outside.
Outside,
Yeah.
houses.
And
They just
all
actually
that.
got plans.
So one of the things we have to look at is, you know, do we need to start a booster club, and so we need to work with Heidi. So right now, we're asking foundations, and then we're gonna make sure that we go through the right channels, and whether it's a booster club or what it looks like, to get that started. So this is definitely phase one. Yeah, very
I'd
excited.
like to see work on the facility. I know the inside, I think we might be on our own finishing that,
That would be
so
great.
that would be a good project.
It's such a lovely picture, the garden.
Yes.
And the project.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we need to vote on that, whether this is a fundraiser or not?
Yeah.
Okay, I entertain a motion that we allow this fundraiser to head on. Any more discussion?
Good tech.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. You're up again.
Oh, yeah. I just did it.
Just never
Sorry, can we help you with that?
So, Kid Tech is doing camps again, this summer, through SCC. They've got a big pamphlet out, this is kind of the preliminary one, there's like 9 pages, and it's full of stuff for kids. Legos, everything. So where we come into play is, they've asked Mr. May, to do a heavy metals workshop with students. It would be June 12th to the 16th, from 9 a.m. to noon. And basically, they're asking if they could use the facilities as welding shed during that period. It's grades 7 through 9. So it's a nice feeder program for our welding. And Matt May, of course, is gonna be the instructor. And his assistant will be Katie Geltz. She'll be down there as well. She works a lot in the CT realm as an associate down there for us. And
So basically, they're funding it, supplying all the materials and everything. I think, just like Adam stated, you know, we're going to the community, we're doing something different. Also, it's bringing that younger generation in, to get them excited about the different things that we offer at Vice.
so we're asking for facility usage for June 12th to the 16th, using the welding shed for Kid Tech.
And no charge.
Yeah.
That's a curse word.
And no charge.
And no charge.
Thank you.
Okay, I entertain a motion
Mullet.
to allow that to happen, the use of our facility. Any more discussion?
We would need a certificate of liability, which is no different than any other contractor, so, yeah.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Tim Innovator presentation.
I think it's shot, actually. Yes.
These lights or those lights?
Yep.
Too dark?
You want to fall asleep now?
I don't know what to do here.
That's all
All right.
That's your pleasure.
Get the line one up here, you know.
Oh, that's not good.
Do you need a light?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Am I starting? I guess we're kind of tag teaming this.
Yeah, those were kind of just
Well, first of all, 4 of us are actually in a sim class that we are doing every lovely Thursday evening. We enjoy our time together, and through the University of Iowa, which has been really a good experience for the 4 of us, and we've been doing a lot of great things. So this just kind of helped to get us jump started in what's something that a lot of us have talked about. Jessica and myself, especially Matt, we brought in this year, beginning of this year, but we've definitely talked about this for the last couple of years. So we've named it Vertex, which we'll explain. And I think you can read the little saying up there, which we think is really a key to the success of this. You guys jump in. Well, there's who we are, okay? For our class, we have to do a pitch, and this is part of our pitch. We have to all have a job. So I'd say all 4 of us are the project coordinators, but we all have to have a spot. So here's who we are.
We thought about doing like funny, jobs, but then we're getting graded on it.
Yeah,
so
we decided we better
make it serious.
So you drive to Iowa City?
No, we Skype. We Skype it from the ICM room, yeah, so we're good. That would be fun. Can we do that?
So this is what I emailed you guys about as a board, by the way.
Right, yeah.
So you guys kind of have a little background as to what we're doing and why we're doing this.
It's not too late to give us back the answers.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Yeah,
not too late
yeah,
for feedback, so.
Yeah, any feedback is welcome.
Yeah, we're still looking for more interviews and more information, so based off of what you guys see tonight, feel free to, if you have any other ideas or anything you want to add to what we are thinking, please email me back, that would be great. But I guess I'll talk on the nursing one. How about I talk on the nursing one? I know a lot of kids think their dream is to be a nurse, and then when we get to the nursing home, they're like, wow, I don't know if this is what I want to do. But even before we get to that point, how do you know you want to do something if you don't get to go experience it? And so this is what our Vertex, our version of Vertex is, you can sit there, and in my classroom, we talk about all different types of healthcare careers, but how do you know you really want to do it until you see it or you experience it? It's hard to sit there and look at what job descriptions and education requirements and money if you don't know that that's where your passion is. So that's kind of what my thinking is in my nursing picture there.
Same concept for everything. I mean, it's like any job. No one really knows it until you do it. So we're trying to figure, and we have kids saying that, well, what's it really like and so forth, so. So this is kind of some information I've received, and I'm not going to really read it all out loud there, but we don't do a good enough job, I don't think, always getting kids out into the real world for whatever reasons. I mean, there's a lot of requirements that keep kids from being able to get out and stuff, and there's been changes in how education is done. But we are getting back to that place where we need to get kids out in the real world experiences. And I know, and I can't remember what all the countries were, but it is crazy how much more other countries get their kids out into the workforce or get them out to real world experiences. And I do know that, we talk a lot about it, going to 8th grade, going up to Southeastern Community College already to look at career areas. We need to start planning much earlier than ever. My only concern with that, a little bit I'll throw out, just a little side note, is I think sometimes we don't want kids to think they can only do one thing, though. We just want them to learn about everything. And like I have a class right now where I say, go job shadow 3 different places. You may never be a nurse, but I want you to go out and check out what it's like to be that. And then of course, the last one there is what all teachers hope is that, if they're thinking about what their career is, they connect it to school, and that makes it, makes it real for the day. And so they're not
increases their motivation, want to come to school. I figured it out, this is what I want to do, so now I get it.
Right. You guys jump in whenever. I know.
Okay, so this is our problem that we've identified, and as Sherry said, this is a problem that we have discussed in our PLC, CT as a CTE problem, that we need to get our kids outside. We need to give them more hands-on experiences and let them see what's going on in the real world versus talking about it.
So with that also though, all 3 of us have way different rounds, and each area of our Vertex would be different. With Jess's, the health occupation is a little bit easier. Sherry, businesses. For me, you got some restraints in the sense of they can't go on a job site until they're 18 and out of high school. And that's another reason why the building trades program and the other partnerships, and working with Heidi and talking with the insurance people and seeing what they can do so that they have that opportunity.
And this, of course, this problem came out from all of our interviews that we've done with different people.
So our solutions,
and then Courtney's gonna talk more about the exact data with this, but we've gotten this information from asking people, what do you think our problem is? What is the solution to the problem? So number one is job shadowing and work experience, and this is coming from kids, this is coming from parents, this is coming from you guys, this is coming from the community. They wanna see more job shadowing, work experience. We know this with our CTE advisory group, they've been saying this. So this is what Keokuk Vertex would be, is job shadow, work experience, working on employability skills before we get them out to do these experiences, so they know how to act as an adult in the workforce. Guest speakers, bringing people in, getting them out, building those partnerships with our community members, and really doing a lot more project-based learning, whether that be in our classrooms, or whether that be out in the community with our business partners, because we just went and we've been looking at schools, we went to Apex. Their businesses in Des Moines are coming to them and saying, we need this, we want this, and their students are solving those problems for those businesses. So I think that'd be awesome for us to get to that point.
A lot of what they do is they look at, okay, so we have 150 problems in our company, you know, and they go in and say, okay, so what's your bottom 2 or 3? And how can these students connect with you and help solve those problems? So their Apex building is really about that, and these kids are getting, they're not students, they're called associates, and it's a new program.
And the classroom is a team.
It's a cohort.
Yeah, it's a really cool
And they learn in
concept.
studios.
Yeah.
They have this brand new building, if we can have a brand new building.
Yeah, we're not asking for a building,
We're not asking, but they do meet outside, which I do think is key, I don't think on it.
I think, since I was the one that looked at all this data, I would say that for sure, adults were the ones that were saying like job shadowing, work experience, 21st century skills. Kids were the ones that were saying, I want more project-based learning, I want more field trips, you know, stuff like that. So, and I thought that was really interesting, the difference in what they want versus what we want for them.
And it would be educating the public and educating our businesses what we're looking for and asking, and building a trusting relationship. So it's gonna be something that we work towards, obviously.
Well, this reminds me of Iowa Big, and I would say,
It
you know,
is, yeah.
so project-based and thinking of what Matt does. I mean, you know, if you're building something, you gotta know physics, you gotta go know math, it all works
Geometry.
together, and that was the whole thing that the Iowa Big said, when they put adults in there, they go, you have 45 minutes to do math, and then you have 45 minutes, and that's not how the real world works. And all, so the project base is, the kids are getting it. That's what life really is.
So for our value, what's the value in doing this? We are preparing our students for future careers. So we're giving them knowledge, expertise, and experience that they need to be successful employees or even post-secondary students. It's increasing their work ethic, so problem-solving skills and good work ethic skills. It's a huge win-win for students and the community. So we're getting our kids out there, working with them, building relationships. Our community partners are getting young, fresh ideas from our students, and which might, you know, help fulfill any needs that they have in their businesses.
A lot of people have stated too, you know, just from our CTE advisory groups and everything, just saying the amount of money and time lost from having to do some of these things, which are employability skills and ethics, training, that if they came to them that way already, they're on the road running and they don't have to worry about that. So they're gaining that time and they're not losing any money. So.
You know, I've actually seen this in real life at my children's daycare. Like, kids I taught, like, they just shuffle through those workers so fast. Like, once a month, there's a new one in. And I really feel like if we get to a point where we can teach them, okay, jobs aren't meant to be a month long, and then move on to the next one, like, that you need to settle down, you know, get something out of this, you know, really dig in. I think through these kind of programs, we can teach them that. Because it is hard. It is hard. It's not, these aren't going to be sit and get, turn in a quick rote memory worksheet and go. Like, you have to produce something in the end, so.
We also have expertise in the field, so we're getting our kids out there to work with the experts, and
Bringing experts in. Also.
Yeah, and bringing experts in and getting them out, but it's not a typical classroom. It's once you get them out, It might be a block period, it might be two periods that we combine, and that way they have time to get out into the community. They might be all going different directions. It's not your typical sit and get classroom, let's get out there, let's work on projects, let's help our community members, let's work together. So it's really a whole different, can be eventually a whole different experience.
And the kids are gonna have to be trained. Like Justin and I were talking about this today, like, it's not gonna be an overnight thing, like, they're gonna have to be trained to think this way and learn this way. Because it will be different from what they're used to. Okay, so, this class that we're taking, they are really big on data. And they want 100 interviews, but they want us to continue that past, to continue it even once we get our program going. And that's just a breakdown statistically of our solutions. And as you can see, job shadowing was by far the most popular answer and what people really want overall. So that's what we're trying to focus on first.
Tell me you surveyed.
Oh, like, yeah, we surveyed everybody. You guys, the community, kids. Kids loved that we were asking them what they thought. They were very honest, so.
Yeah, some of the answers I got from some of the kids, I was like, really?
I'll write it down, but.
Yeah, okay, I'll listen, but I don't know.
So that's just a breakdown of what we already talked about, and then, can we go to the next one? That's a breakdown of our validation, and preparing for the future. Was overall I was taking qualitative data and trying to give it a quantitative value. So overall, that's kind of what I was picking up, is that people think that this will help prepare the kids for the future. And I intend to agree, I think it will, so.
So these are our key partners, of course, that we've identified at this point for businesses. For my business area, of course, the Chamber of Commerce is going to be huge. Healthcare, I know Jessica's already got good connections there with.
Yeah, and I've got
areas.
I've got the hospital calling me, I've got all the places calling me and begging for CNAs. So they have tons of openings, and they're calling me, do you have any CNAs that are just done? So I just got we got a couple girls working at Keokuk Area Hospital right now on the weekends, and they love it, which is awesome. So I always see them in the hallway, because I know I'm in class anymore, I'm like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, we love it. So
There's a
it's
company
awesome.
for respiratory therapists. I talked to a woman, and they're on 24-hour call at Burlington Hospital. They are so short.
We just studied respiratory therapy and health
They
OC.
Great need.
Yes, and we have one of the instructors from the Burlington campus coming down with her pig lungs on March 30th, and the kids always love that, and she's a very good speaker, she's very entertaining, so.
Is there any plan to present this to, say, the chamber? I'm a liaison in the school district and the Chamber of Commerce.
We need to do,
And they would be so positively
Yeah,
impressed if you could make this presentation to them. I can get you on the.
We do have,
Shelley.
Shelley, definitely, yeah, we need to do that, and then also we thought of our community groups like Rotary and Lions and so forth.
These are
Because those are
great
gonna be
programs.
key people,
Yes.
and actually that's in one of our
Yeah,
next steps kind of thing, so, yeah. Sustainability, as most of you know, CTE has Perkins Grant, federal grant program, so we have money there that we are able to use. Business partners, of course, and our advisory committee. Donations, we're just gonna take Matt's money. And, anyway, so he can do all the work and we'll take money. But we don't see this as any additional cost, did you hear that? No additional cost. So, because all the existing instructors would be able to serve as advisors for this.
Outside of that building.
Yeah.
Well, I know, we have a spot there, they do encourage you though to make it more real for kids to meet in a spot off of school, so you're not in your classroom. So actually, where, the old Roquette office building, I mean, I have some good connections there, I'm sure they'd give us a room to use.
Right.
So that would be probably free, so.
Quick plug in there, so what we're looking at is revamping Sherry's schedule a little bit next year as well. She'd still have her 6 units of study, it would just be 3 periods times 2 semesters. So that would open her up 2 periods to sort of be a multi-occupational coordinator, so she can go on site and check our students and check up with business partners, and this is all project-based for a grade, so checking in with the students. And then Jess, where she would come into play, is adding an advanced health OC course to her schedule, which that gives all the HIPAA laws and everything to our nurses so that they can get out there too. So the one additional cost would be having Sarah Merlin full-time is to fill for Jess's, so Jess could be in the classroom all day, which is
But that's not just a cost, we're reaping benefits from that as well.
huge benefits,
Yes.
absolutely. So, yeah.
So these are the next steps that we have.
So we just continue doing our customer discoveries, interviewing, see what else, seeing if our problem changes, which we don't think it will. Establish our curriculum, which, you know, we basically already do, it's just how we're gonna deliver it. Contacting more businesses for job shadowing experiences. Create a directory for guest speakers that can be utilized, kind of like what we already do with the career fair that we have, but just add more variety in each area. Develop more project-based learning within our classrooms and community. And then making the connections with those groups, Rotary Lions, so on and so forth.
And of course, you need to know what Vertex means. We told you, we said Vertex, so there it is, and actually Mr. May designed this, so.
Variety of educational experiences reaching real-world techniques and skills essential to relationships in the workplace. It actually means that, I had to look it up on Google.
The definition of vertex is where two lines meet to form a new angle. So it's right in there.
Where paths meet to make it right.
Now, is this material available to right now online, or hard copies of this, or you're not at that point?
I don't know where at that point, we kind of had to do this for our class to be ready, so.
Could you email that to us?
So,
Yeah.
we will take a vote as a committee, yeah, we probably did, yeah.
Yes, we can.
Very excited.
True.
You know, while we have you, I do want to give a shout out to Barb since she's here. She was the one that actually, she'll let me. She was actually the one that got us all together in the first place and wrote the grant for our STEM English class. Plus, she wrote another grant for Matt and I to co-teach a fundamentals of engineering class.
But we don't know if that's gonna.
But we don't know yet. We're
And
hoping.
she also wrote a grant with Natalie to work on her 21st century classroom, possibly for next year.
Yeah,
Yes.
So we were
She's done a
praying,
lot to help
so-
this program.
Barb is our behind the scenes.
Barb, you have one of these, don't you, one of these pins?
Yes, I do.
I'll start getting Barb.
Huge
Thank you,
shout out,
Barb.
huge shout out to our teachers too. They spent a lot of after hours on this. So,
But we're excited about it, we really want to see more of this. I know as a parent, I want my kids doing this stuff.
Yeah.
We're excited.
So we really want to see this happen.
When we did see this project, like, when they said, okay, you have to do this, and we all kind of
We
looked at
were
each
all
other,
like,
we're like,
wow.
oh, this is what we've been trying to do.
Yeah.
So, it kind of played right into each other.
And it's been really nice for me, like, these guys are all in PLC together, and then I'm science. But it's been really nice to get into another department and see what they're doing and working.
See our road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
So this is our start, so we meet with our CT advisory group Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Okay, so our plan will be to share
Yep,
this
it's
with
on the
them.
agenda.
So, yeah, we're gonna start expanding this. I mean, this is a start, we're working on it, and so now what we do need to do is get our business partners on board, which I don't think is gonna be a problem. But yeah, so I think we're excited to do this.
Yeah,
and we're
very excited.
And I am starting a STEM advisory. You guys see me have advisory every day, so it's a 20-minute period. And when we toured these schools, they do STEM advisories, which are kids that are math and science career oriented. So I'm gonna start one next year, and I'll keep them all 4 years, and I'll advise them on, okay, you need to take this class next, and this one. And then Jess will get the next bunch, and then Matt, and then Sherry. So we'll constantly be having STEM kids in our advisories every year. That's the plan.
Which is another great way that we'll become a STEM school.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're working hard.
Yeah, oh, you are.
We got plans, big
It's
plans.
a lot, yeah, it's not as hard as people think it is, so. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Megan.
Now, who was on that committee? Are we?
Good night.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can we do it tomorrow, Zach?
Okay, follow that, Heidi. So
I'm
guarantee.
not quite as excited, do we need to approve anything for that, to continue on with it? All right, so mine is definitely not as exciting by any means. The next thing on the list is the budget guarantee resolution. This is something that we are just kind of in the habit of passing every year. We currently are not going to be on budget guarantee, but we just want to do the habit of doing it every year. Because if we do ever are on budget guarantee, then of course we have to have a resolution passed to be able to receive that guarantee. So I just asked the board to approve that, please.
Sure, do you want a motion?
Yes.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to continue the guarantee, budget guarantee.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Okay, the next one on the list is the Hayden Facility Architect Contract. We did have two architects that we had bid on this project, and the group did feel that PSVA, I think so, Bob, with Martin would be the appropriate choice for them after listening to both. So we just need the board to approve this contract.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve that. Any discussion? I just want to know, did you guys get together and meet and come up with a budget for that? That's what they were trying to do.
We're still
Still
in
working.
the process.
Okay, all right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Architect agreement for re-roof of the bus barn and maintenance building?
Yes. We did get two bids. This is related to the hailstorm damage, and we will be starting the process to bid the bus, to redo the roofs of the bus barn and the maintenance building. So since this is through an insurance claim, we do have two quotes, one from Pepping Stone and Bach, and the other one from Knapp Gordon Architects. The Knapp Gordon one is less. So EMC has let us know that they will only pay up to the amount of what Knapp Gordon, or the lower bid is. And if we would like to go with the other bid, then of course, that is our additional cost. So I just need a motion as to which bid you guys would like to accept.
What was the difference on the first one, G, the bus barn?
Let's see, I know the difference between the two is 20,000 for the both. I'm not for sure specifically, I have to calculate it, but,
Close to 10 and 10.
probably, roughly.
Do you know about this second firm, Knapp Gordon?
Yeah, they're the ones that are actually in charge of the high school as well, the architect for the high school, and for GW. I guess not GW, but I think just high school, GW.
So I guess I'm just gonna step out there and say I'd entertain a motion to accept Knapp Gordon, since they're the lowest bid.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Now, any discussion?
How soon will this be started?
We will start the bidding process as soon as we have decided which architect. EMC is working on us.
Would that be different, that project, you visualize the spring or summer?
I would hope so.
Just so.
Yeah, I would hope so. At this point, you know, of course, now timing is kind of gonna play a part with summer schedule. Yeah, we will try our best to definitely get that, absolutely. But bus barn maintenance, of course, there's no question there, so.
Does that person know that we like that done during the summer, was that passed on to them?
I'm sure that they know with the high school and GW, we wanted it during the summer, and those two are lined up for the summer. So I will pass that along as well, but I'm sure that they're aware of that, so.
The Pepping Stone Block, I know with the facility, they gave us a cap that it wouldn't exceed that amount. Is that similar with this one? So it could be lower or?
I'll have to let me look. I don't believe that it was a
Not to exceed amount?
well, I mean, yes, it was a not to exceed amount. for this one, so he did have that in there.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. All right, now we'll move on to the same with the re-roof of Hawthorne. And again, it's the same.
Yep, it's the same kind of information that I gave you before, but obviously just for Hawthorne.
And again, the lowest bid is that.
Correct.
So I'd entertain a motion to accept that.
I'll make a motion.
Any discussion on that building? All in favor, say aye. Okay. Now it's the Adams show.
Jerry. I'm gonna pass this around. This is our Edgenuity program. And this part here is my path, my learning path. It actually is all encompasses the same thing. Well, they're different but the same. So the online learning program has real teachers that teach students. Our current Plato system, they're certified, yeah, for certified master level teachers that will be teaching our students on this new online program versus right now where they read a script and there's no teaching involved whatsoever. There's lots of, also our teachers would be able to put the standards in there, so they're actually learning the standards that they'd be learning in the classroom. They're able to upload their assessments, so our students could, or I'm sorry, our teachers can give final assessments that are their assessments, or put questions into the question pool for the final assessment. It also could allow teachers to flip their classroom. Students could go home and watch the teacher online. This My Learning Path is really neat. The reason that it's neat is because it is an actual My Learning Path for every student in our school. So in order to have this, we would be able to put a RIT score in of all of our MAP scores for all 600, including the middle school. They would be involved in this as well. It's a 612 for their Warrior Time MTSS. You could put 600 MAP scores in there and it's set a learning path for every student in your school, math and reading. They can get on there. Next year, we're looking to add labs in our building as an MTSS structure, so students could be in a math lab and also take core math, which is something I'll talk about next month. But in our labs, they could be using that during Warrior Time. It's so hard for teachers to do interventions for 15, 20 students that are at different levels, and this program would allow you to do so. So those are a couple of neat features.
So this would be replacing the Adventum or Plato program that we currently have. The contract ends August 1st and in July, August. So we looked at and vetted 3 different programs. We had staff members from the Learning Lab within the building at the high school. We also got some logins for our middle school as well so they could test these programs. Edgenuity was by far the one that our teachers selected for use within their classrooms. One, because the easeable, I can't use the word, easy to use. Thank you so much. Easy to use. Student engagement, just a number of pieces that they did not have with the current program with Adventum. Number one, Adventum is a script, whereas this was much more personalized, and especially with this. So the presentation or the proposal we received a number of proposals. The proposal we are proposing to use a 5-year contract. After 3 years, we could opt out, no penalties. So if we find after 3 years, which was our minimum contract that we currently have, but with this one we have 5 years at a pricing of $37,000 a year. After 3, if we're not happy, we don't have to penalties or anything like that. We can just end the contract. Big differences between the contracts for Adventum and Edgenuity. Edgenuity, we have 6 days of on-site professional development for our staff members. Whereas with Adventum, it was 1 day and then 3 hours of online training. So those of us, as we work with new technologies, it's always nice to have someone right there to help you walk through. And so to have somebody here for 6 days is important.
And I'll add to that, 98% of my building doesn't know how to use Play-Doh because they don't use it. This is a lot different program. I mean, we would be training all of our teachers on this because they may want to use it for lessons or for students to go home and check a lesson or something that they didn't understand, maybe a math formula or something, they can go back online and use it, sort of like Khan Academy in some senses. So all of our teachers would be able to, would be trained in this versus.
So what are we paying right now?
Um,
For 2% of the teachers using it?
Yeah, right now, for year one with Admenum, we paid 28,000, year two, 27, and year three, 27,000. And that did not include integration of MAP scores or additional PD. I mean, it's like 5 days less PD on top of it.
There's no My Learning Pad on there, so we're paying additional $5,000-6,000 for the My Learning Pad to increase our interventions, and also keep in mind, I mean, it is our at-risk money, so it doesn't come out of general fund, it comes out of our at-risk.
How long has this group been in business? I mean, we checked with other school districts who would use their service.
Yes.
We talk to people in the morning.
We talked to people in Des Moines who have used this. I can't tell you how long exactly they've been.
I think it's a newer company probably than the other. Perhaps it's a newer company? Not necessarily.
Well, I can tell you, yeah, I can tell you this here, but mention.
You mentioned quite a few schools in Iowa that use
Yeah.
it, and I know, I can't remember, Fort Madison or one of our local schools does have it, because I was at a round table when they talked about it. It's a lot more rigorous than what we have now. I would say that, you know, I don't want to knock what we do now, but I would say kids get on there, they don't read all of it, they just kind of guess, and then we reopen it and they keep guessing. This one has a lot more restrictions on it, and it's a lot more teaching. Some other cool things, they actually have a virtual lab for science. So right now, our kids that take Play-Doh, we had a physics section that didn't fit all of our senior schedule. So they take Play-Doh and then they actually go to their labs in Mr. Sorensen. Well, when you're at the Learning Center, that's not possible. So on here, there's actual interactive learning labs. So it shows like dyes and you're working different blood types and different things like that. There's a cool thing where you can change the whole play, like change Antigone at the end and create your own ending to it. It's way more interactive than what we have right now.
And it aligns really well with the classes we're taking.
It aligns perfectly with the standards, and as our teachers sort of centralize those standards, those are the plug standards that we'll expect the kids to learn.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be aligned to Iowa.
It's gonna be a lot more work for us, but it's the right work for the kids, so.
It was created in '98.
Yeah, it's been around quite a while.
Thank you.
So this 37,000, is this the Cadillac, or are you guys trying to save some money? I mean, I don't wanna,
That's the
Yeah.
Cadillac.
this is, you got
I'm
everything
pretty
you want.
sure.
Well, we had the choice, there were choices between doing it as a high school site, alternative site, or this site. So if I went by individual schools, trying to remember, it broke it down. High school would have been 26,000, middle school would have been 13,000, my path would have been 6,000. It had 3 days of PD, 3 days of webinar PD, selection of 20 courses. This one with the 37,000, it includes the MyPath, all of the courses, everything. And so the 3-year contract is 42,000. They're offering us a 5-year with the option of after 3 years for 37,000.
3 years is what we signed with Play-Doh. And I wish I had course descriptions here, maybe I do in my folder, but it'll add some other enriching courses that we may not offer. So my thought is at some point, maybe we open a computer lab, and if there's something a kid wants to learn, they can go in for that period. Our librarians can take attendance, they can work online through the program.
Whereas right now with Admentum, we are paying for additional courses that are not being utilized. We did opt out of them. So very comfortable. So when you look at the numbers between Admentum and Ingenuity, what we're receiving with the MyPath, and then also the additional PD and courses, you're getting really well.
Did you say kids could get on this at home in the evening if they didn't understand something?
Right.
We can't do that now.
Yes, they can. It's just,
But Play-Doh doesn't really.
It doesn't have live teachers. I did a tutorial the other day as a student and as a facilitator, and it has actual teachers that are videoed talking to you about the lessons, doing, I don't know if you've seen Khan Academy before, where they actually walk you through different step-by-step things and kind of break it down. It has teachers doing that for you. It's much more interactive, much more engaging.
That person standing and talking to you.
Yep, it'll be better also, just like they said, for interventions for kids if they don't understand something, or for teachers to develop lessons around. They came to us last year as an admin team, and we loved their pitch. I don't know why we didn't decide to move with them then. I think
we had one more year.
That's right, that's why.
And I will say too, lastly, I will add one more thing. When our students are at the Learning Center, there's only so much Mr. Jerome can do. And then when they're not not getting taught, like, say, math and things. I mean, trust me, if you're coming to me asking me geometry questions, I gotta study it first. So, you know, this allows them to actually be taught while they're at the learning centers.
So it's just reading and math, does it?
No, it has everything.
It
And
is like,
I wish I had the course list, it's way more than what we offer at the high school.
Well, I'm telling you, what little I worked with Play-Doh, I wasn't real impressed with this. And if you said that was only what % of our students actually used it, now 100% of our students will be able to tap into it.
In high school,
So
and
cost
middle
is
school, and
really-
alternative school.
It could add to our course catalog too, so when our course catalog, I'm gonna add some bonus courses in, students are interested, prior approval, they could possibly take it for
Yeah,
credit.
sounds awesome.
Is it strictly intervention, or is this something that we could use to kind of help with open enrollment, the ones that are open enrolling out?
Well, Mr. Hood talked about, we have a few students that take online, so, if we get that list, I'd be calling them and telling them we have a new system, maybe they'd be interested in. We talked about that too, and we could bring a few of them back that pays for themselves.
Right, right.
So who pursued this?
It was presented by the admin team to me like before.
I was chomping at the bit last year, I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Brad and I were super
And,
excited.
I gave some other like to be thorough, so I gave some others as well, to make sure that we're selecting the best.
Yeah, we brought in Honesty Wear, which is another good company, it just didn't have all the bells and whistles that we thought it should really do.
So this could definitely take the place out
They
of
would
those
take-
open enrollment out.
I don't know what, they use that CAM Online Academy, I don't know if they use the same program or not, I wouldn't be surprised if they did use this.
Yeah.
The company is out of Arizona, no.
Okay.
So you want online students, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The ones that we're losing to online, if we offer this, then we might bring those
Yeah.
students back.
Yes,
When you graduated,
So-
yeah.
so, yeah, if we get a list of them, of those parents and students, then we bring them in and Brad give them a presentation and,
But it's only K, or 6 through 12, correct?
yes, it is only,
Is it lower?
they don't go really much lower than that. It's just 6-12. There's really not many options, not worth our while lower than that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I'd entertain a motion to accept this. So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All
We're
right,
talking about a 5-year deal with a 3rd-year opt-out of 37.
right.
Yeah.
It's a 30-year plus 42, so why would you do that? All right, all in favor, say aye. Okay.
I guess we'll start next fall.
Yeah, so our students will still, and they know they need to finish with Play-Doh by July 31st, because August 1st this kicks in. And I'm gonna work with Jerry on some PD for middle school and high school.
Tim, will you contact people who have
And we gave this a lot,
roll out?
sorry, go ahead.
You know, we talked about that as administrators.
Yeah. And we gave this out to our staff members too, and they were all very pleased by it. I let my English department and math play with it as well. So there's a bit of a stigma with Play-Doh, and I'm hoping to sort of get rid of that stigma a little bit, so.
Thank you for pursuing this.
You're welcome.
All right, personnel.
Before we get to personnel, I'd like to make a motion under personnel.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we pull out the resignation of Nicholas McGraw and vote and discuss that separately from the rest of these changes.
Okay,
So I'm making that motion.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, then you want to vote on the rest first? Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion to vote on all the rest of the personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now I guess we need a motion to either accept or not accept, I guess, or we want to do this so that we can discuss it.
Could you just have a motion to act? You can act one way or the other.
Okay, I don't care, I don't know.
To discuss or act and vote.
Let's just discuss it.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Uh,
Why did we pull this out?
Okay, the reason that I asked for this to be pulled out, I think everyone in this room is aware of the great contribution that Mr. McGraw has made to our vocal music programs, and not the least of which is the show choir. And he has worked very long, very hard. In numbers, do you have those figures, Jan? What those numbers might be that he's working on?
I had them, and I think I can tell you it was like 285.
Okay. Now, his position as vocal music will cover both
Well,
senior
seven-
high and middle school.
Seventh and eighth grade choir.
What about six?
There is no sixth grade
Okay.
gen music anymore.
Reba Terry does sixth grade.
I beg your pardon?
She does 6, 7, and 8, and
Right.
it's a music plus. But
He is
my
not-
understanding is there is no longer a requirement of sixth grade.
Right.
And then he does a choir at the high school and show choir, 2 show choirs.
Now, I never understood why he was doing both when we have a full-time person at the high school in instrumental music and a full-time person at middle school in instrumental. That always seemed to me an unfair distribution of responsibilities, and I have raised that issue for a number of years. I've also raised the issue with Mr. Hood and some of the administrators about could we find a way to give Mr. McGraw some relief? Are there some other people who are certified in music that could take over some of those middle school vocal music classes that he has every day? And then, of course, I know Reva's qualified, but Reva had been on this sharing thing. Now, Reva was brought back this year, and this would have been yearly, but I know scheduling is a problem, when maybe she could have taken at least one class. My point being is that this man has been overworked for a long time, and we should have worked out something before now, and the board's responsible too, that we could not have come to some sort of a plan where he did not have to cover the classes he did, which I think has contributed to perhaps a possibility of burnout. I also know he's interested in going back and getting his master's, which is very, very good. And so I'm also thinking in possibilities of could he be granted a leave of absence to get his master's? And maybe we'd be interested in coming back. This creates a huge problem for our school district because this program is outstanding. It has brought students into the school district. And I really believe that we would not have this resignation probably at this time if he had been given some relief earlier in his, keeping his classes. Now, this is my point of view. So, if I could, I would vote not to accept his resignation, but that's probably not an option. But I would like to have a discussion, whether it's for Mr. McGraw, if he would change his mind, or for anyone else who would come into our school district, not to be overwhelmed with this responsibility of teaching vocal music, not only at the high school, but at the middle school. It's unfair when we have 2 full-time instrumental teachers at both buildings and only 1 vocal music. So I'm throwing it out there for discussion at this time.
And I would agree with that, and I think, like you said, for someone coming in, I think the program has really proved itself, and I think we will have people who would be interested in his position, but when they find out his workload, they may pull out, so, and we do want a quality person, so.
What about other show choirs that have that many? Do they have one director and an assistant, or do they just have one?
They actually, I asked that question about the groups that have a varsity group and a prep group, and I was told less than 10% of them have the same director. They have 2 different directors.
Would you like me to speak?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Brad and I spoke with Nick and gave him a few options that would possibly, like you said, in-housing a few areas that would allow Nick to be full-time at the high school. I spoke with him on Friday. I don't know if anyone's heard anything. I was really asking for something over the weekend or today for him to really just help us, because my biggest concern is just having the time, and I think his concern, his letter too, is giving us time to find someone. Believe me, I don't want to get rid of Nick, and I understand completely what he means to our program. I do want you to know that Brad and I have both worked on his schedule. I know his workload's hard, but I would say, for our teacher wise, he has a pretty big break in the middle of his day. He works first 2 periods at the middle school till 9:44, and his first class at the high school is at 12:24. So that's 2 hours and 40 minutes in the middle of his day.
And which, of course, everyone has a prep time and
Lunchtime, and it's all combined.
Yes, lunch and prep.
Lunch and prep, well, he has a prep at the middle school, then he also has a prep when he comes to the high school, plus a lunch. So he actually has 2 preps in his day, plus a lunch. So we talked
So
about.
if he were full-time at the high school, he would, of course, what prep would be taken?
I don't know what that would exactly
Well,
look
yeah,
like for us.
And the part of the problem, I think, with us has been the inequitability of it between.
Right, so I just wanted to throw in that time
Yes.
is, we did create and try to carve as much time in the middle of his day, because I know he has a lot of organizing and different things. And so I just wanted to put that out there as well, just so that you're aware of it. We talked about some in-house options, where they would teach 7th and 8th grade, possibly using instructors that we have now. He wasn't really he was worried departmentally about that.
But you got to understand too, Adam, this is not a problem just this year. You're doing an outstanding job. This is a problem that goes back 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
3 years at least.
And I would say, Adam and Brett, I spoke with Nick, he called me over the weekend and
Okay.
again today, and
Good.
he's excited about the 2 of you working together for that position, whether it be him or someone else. He's very thankful and happy that that's happening.
Well, we're doing, and I just,
And we
we're doing what we
appreciate,
can.
we appreciate,
Right.
trying to help work with this situation.
Sure. Good.
It's our most outstanding program, extracurricular.
We love it.
I had a phone call, and the phone call I received on was about the after hours and needing assistance there, like an assistant coach. And did you say, somebody said that less than 10% of the schools have one director, they have 90% of the schools have one for
One up
each?
and one for the other.
So that would be a big relief.
Well, like he practices show band after, he does a lot of his ensembles, or after, he does a lot of that stuff after school, which he would have to do, but if there were more than one of them, it
And then you
would
have
be
the people
easier.
that want to go to All-State, they take special practice. There's so many subsets of special practice, special practice, special practice. Because it involves both the high school and the middle school. He's just outstanding, and I would like to see us put every effort forth to be able to perhaps convince him to change his mind. And if,
I do think changes for the next person as well.
Yeah,
that's
I
right,
agree. I agree.
that's right, I agree with that.
The only thing I was adding is just give you enough time to, if he does decide to lose, because none of us are asking him to go, but I understand what you're saying completely. But I want to dig and I want to keep that program strong, so I'll do everything I can if it isn't dig. Just please give us time to do that, so
Right.
I'm not asking, it's up to you what decision you make tonight or when, but please keep that in mind.
I do, but I would like to make the first effort.
Sure.
then.
Yep, I understand that.
And I think they've showed they're trying to do
Yes,
that
they
too.
have, yeah, but I didn't know that till you,
Yes, we did.
till you shared that with us.
I want to make sure Brad and I both spoke with him before tonight. I'm really trying to.
Sometimes we are the last to know on something.
No, that's okay. I happened to speak with Jan and a little bit about it, but that was preliminarily. And we tried to be proactive before Nick left on Friday, just to make sure that we tried every effort possible to keep him in. And we definitely have some ideas that wouldn't hurt our budget, but,
Well, another one, I don't think yours
I don't know, it's.
may not be as receptive to this, but we have in the past, it is a precedent, where we have given teachers a leave of absence to go back and get an advanced degree, and then the position was available to them after they finished that to come back. Now, I know the problem with that is, if
Sure.
you get someone then in, is that fair to them if someone else that comes in? On the other hand, there could be a possibility with a combination of people in our community that could do it for you. Let's think outside the box and look at all
Are you required to come
possibilities.
back after you get your education though? Or
I
do you
don't
have
think
the
you
option?
can, but you have the option, no, he doesn't
I
have
would
to.
want to guarantee, I wouldn't want to say I'm going for 2 years and then Oh, I'm not going back.
Well, this has happened in the past, and that's one of the
And it's gone both ways.
It goes, it's gone both
And
ways.
actually, Crystal, the band director, did it.
So she came back? or
Yeah,
she-
she took 1 year to get her master's and came back.
So I'm sure I would explain it has been done, you know, but we have no guarantee.
You can put that in the contract, right? I think you were reading in the contract.
No, it's
No,
not.
no, starting in June 30th.
Now.
A little codicil, a little attention for them. That's what I'm asking, thinking outside the box, for the good of the program.
You could force them without somehow volunteering or something.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
So that doesn't be my, yeah. So you will, that person, not that person, put all the cards, please. So,
Yeah.
fundraiser.
Oh, another fundraiser.
Yeah.
You are
Gary
so,
in charge of that.
Gary
So-
is driving.
So what do you want to do with this? Do you want to accept it, make a
Well-
motion to accept it?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, but, I don't think it really actually matters, because if Nick wants to go, his contract is up 6:30, he just won't sign the new one. But it does hold their hands of trying to find someone new. And I don't think that we'll probably post this until we know for sure that Nick has said no.
I can do whatever you want us to do. Like I said, so if you want us to wait a week or what, to post and give them a few more days, I don't know.
You could potentially say a couple things, table one. Number two, you can say we accept this pending on whether Nick tells us in 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
you-
because
or
I
if you give a
asked
time
Nick to
period.
pull it, and he did not want to, so I don't, I don't want to.
That's
get
fine,
into
so I
it.
don't know that he's
Yeah,
going to.
and I know he's waiting to find out about that assistantship, and I think that's the card he's waiting.
Okay.
Yes, why don't you explain it to the board?
He had applied for graduate school, but he can't pay for it without an assistantship, and he auditioned for that, and he hasn't heard yet whether he got it or not. And I'm-
University of Nebraska.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure if he gets it, no matter what you guys do, he's
Yeah.
going.
Right.
Yeah, but if he doesn't get it, I think he'll stay, especially the way you guys are working on this, so.
Okay. So he was, we didn't get feedback from that. He's feeling better about things then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So-
I think that we need, not officially, but make it that we're gonna have an assistant coach or assistant director or whatever it's called in that field, but to have all of those kids with one, when we've got 3 and 4 coaches for half that number and other activities, we need to say, yeah, we're gonna do that, right away.
Or, we'll talk to you about that plan we had to absorb some of the, so it would be strictly high school too.
But he's talking about the after
But
school
I'm
stuff.
talking about the after-school. I actually, a couple of parents contacted me, and they were both talking about the after-school and how many kids he has, and that's what they were talking about as being the worst for him. I haven't talked to Nick myself, so I don't know what he's saying, but the parents were saying, get him some help for after.
And I think that's a lot of it, that all of that after-school stuff, he just really feels bad about how he can't give the attention to the middle school because of all just the organization that goes into planning all of the stuff. He and we'll continue to tweak things at our end to make it, usable for him and feasible for him, or for whoever comes in. But I think it's important for that person to continue to stay part of the middle school program, because I think that's part of the success, is that he's able to be part of the feeder program.
Well, and Brad, he did tell me, I said, if money was not an option, what would this dream, how would we fill this? And he said, whoever is your head person, and I said, let's say it's you. And he said, okay, if it's me and I'm male, then I would do the middle school male choir and the varsity show choir and the concert choir at the high school. And then you hire a person of the opposite sex to do the girls' choir at the middle school to build the program. Do maybe add a 6th grade choir, and then do the prep group at the high school.
And the reason being,
Plus, then he said, when he's leading Purple Harmony, the female would be directing the show band for Purple Harmony, and they would switch for the other, because right now, he's always leading the band, he's behind the choir, he never sees what they do at a competition. And that's how I came to that less than 10%, because I asked him that. That's what he said, like Cedar Rapids and all those schools that have a varsity and a prep, that's how they do it. so they can, so that's how his dream position would look, so you would still be in both buildings, but.
And other schools our size, they have a second person also, as far as an assistant.
Well, they,
For
yeah,
the after-school program.
oh, yeah, the after school, I mean, think if we do that, we hire people for band. I mean, Woody and Alex help with marching band.
But that's meaning, if you mean a stipend position versus.
Right,
a
that's what I'm talking about, a
being
stipend
teacher.
position as well.
Okay, so if you had a stipend in there, that'd be possible, and then absorbing scenarios of the dreams middle school.
And then that would be a time factor too, as well, as if now Nick's a one-guy show, so if he's working after school with, let's say, the tenors from 4 to 5, and then at 5, he's working with the show band, I mean, you could have two people doing that at the same time, and.
I think I'm on the line right now, and I don't know if it's die for lack of a second. If we make a motion to table this for 2 weeks.
When's the next work week? Is it exactly a
Well,
month or is it
April,
3 weeks?
April 3rd, because that's our budget. Our budget works on
Is it that far away?
So here's, just my 2 cents real quick, with a lot of the CBA problems, I mean, the jobs are just everywhere in the state, I just wanna be competitive at some point.
You could advertise.
There's a lot out there right now.
Well, we've done that before, and say expected opening. And other schools have done that.
Advertised but not
Advertise
accepted.
now, expected opening,
Expected opening, but
whatever
not
the
official.
description goes with it.
I'll do whatever you guys wanna do, I'm just.
Okay, I'm gonna make the motion.
The union has to allow us to do it that way. And sometimes they've done that, and sometimes they haven't.
Allow us to do what?
It has to be posted in-house first.
Oh, okay, we're gonna post it. I'm still gonna make.
Sometimes they expect it, they had a problem, they had a problem with it the last one. And I tried to ask if I could do it simultaneously, and said no.
Okay.
10 days.
Okay, and so today is March 13th, we'll talk about the third, how many days?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm gonna make a motion to table this until April 3rd. Second.
Can you start, I'm sorry?
Here.
Yeah, with them allowing.
In-house, so.
With allowing them to post if it's legal,
I'll talk to you.
with, you know, wording the way we said, you know,
Just make it
the expected, anticipated.
Well, I'm just thinking if Nick does go and we keep putting it off, it's gonna
We've
be.
had this conversation behind closed doors, so.
I believe we can go, we can post it as expected, it just has to go 10 days in-house. I'm not for sure if you guys are understanding.
Yeah, right, I understand, yeah.
We just, once the 10 days is up, then it can go external.
Yeah.
And the question, what Mr. Hood is talking about is, we've asked before, when we're in a time crunch to run simultaneously.
But you didn't say expected. You were one.
We have done expected before, so we
Okay.
can sure post it as expected. We will just have to run it in-house first.
Give them a 10
10
day
days.
in-house.
Mhm.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
should know from the
Oh,
past.
That's what I would say, you know what, if it happens and then he doesn't get it, he can apply for
10
it.
days and then after that.
Right?
Open it up.
But
We can, as soon as we get it out there, we can get it, the 10 days started, unless they allow it to do it at the same time.
He can apply for the stabilization.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could accept it, and he could apply it, and he didn't, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so which way should we go? I put, we have a motion on the floor, first is, and second, to table it till the 3rd. Do we want an amendment to that?
Yes.
In any way, to that motion?
2 weeks, 10 days, right?
Okay.
It's spring break.
Yeah, spring break. Let's, he's gonna resign or not, and we can just do this on the 3rd in the next board meeting.
And
It
just
doesn't matter what we do.
either,
But we got that 10-day window where we gotta get through that.
Can we-
The problem is
Right,
whether they
get out
can
there.
post on Teach Iowa, can you post?
I would like
it?
to see it posted internally.
Yeah, that we can do
Yeah.
that right now.
we
Yeah,
can
do that
absolutely
right
do
now.
that.
But
It's just-
I'll ask her.
And then after the 10
Okay.
days, post it, and then that would almost be, is it 10 work days or 10 business days or 10 calendar
I
days?
think it's,
Spring break and two, so.
yeah, I'll have to look.
And then that would give him the 2 weeks.
Yeah. Business days.
Typically, when we have a resignation, we can continue to go ahead and post for that vacancy, even if the board hasn't officially acted on it. we do that. So that is not an uncommon thing for us to do. So we'll just label it as expected.
He thought he would know by now, but he doesn't.
I don't think that's
And
probably,
I.
But he
should
is
be.
very positive about it, so
Yeah.
that's why I don't.
probably be sometime this week,
But I just
think.
want to give a little time to get a little clearing up and clarity and him understand what could be for next year
Yeah.
and so forth.
It'll be a nice 10-day.
So,
We'll know
someone, how, let me make it to my, because I said the third, it's on the floor, and amend that to what?
I thought we were gonna do the same, with the spring break in there and the 10
Oh, that
days.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is. Okay, then we don't have to.
Okay, as long as we can post it anyway, then you're.
Okay.
And certainly after the 10 days, I can start calling.
And then we let us do it simultaneously, that's fine too.
Yep.
I'll find out more.
You want to repeat the
And it's
motion?
posted as expected opening, correct?
Yes, we'll post it as potential or expected or,
Okay.
yeah, whatnot.
Do we understand the motion?
Okay, we have a first and a second, and we've been discussing, any more discussion?
Are we accepting it?
No, we're tabling it.
We're tabling it
And then
until
we're gonna post it
Thursday.
in-house.
Well,
We're gonna see
we're
what we
posting.
can do currently outside, and that's it. All right.
And we're gonna get in this.
Oh my goodness. What is it?
All right, all in favor?
You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are adjourned.